Warehouse was cold, dusty, and smelled of old flour and vanilla extract. A single nade bulb hung from a rusted beam, casting a stark, unforgiving circle of light on the concrete floor. In its center, Leaf squirmed on a wooden chair, his wrists and ankles bound with the same heavy-duty zip ties I used for bundling delivery boxes. His earlier bravado was gone, replaced by the sniveling, tear-streaked face of a frightened child. The transformation was sickening. "Please," he whimpered, snot bubbling at his nose. "My mom says I have problems. I need help, not this." Hannah stood before the small altar she'd made for Katie. She didn't look at him. Her back was straight, her movements deliberate as she lit a second stick of incense. The sweet, cloying smoke did nothing to mask the smell of fear in the room. "You're just a kid," I said, my voice flat, echoing in the cavernous space. I leaned against a stack of flour sacks, my arms crossed. The adrenaline from the snatch was fatting, leaving a cold, heavy certainty in its place. "That's what the law says, that's your shield. Just a kid." Katie was just a kid. "I didn't mean for her to die," Leo cried, the words a practiced whine. "It was an accident, the box fell, the dirt, it was a game that went wrong." Hannah turned slowly. The raw, bleeding sorrow I'd seen in her eyes for weeks was gone. In its place was a glacial calm, so absolute it was more terrifying than any rage. She walked towards him, her footsteps silent on the dusty floor. "Game," she repeated, her voice barely a whisper. "Yes, a game. She liked the game. She liked the chocolates," Leo insisted, seeing a sliver of hope in her response. "I'm sorry, I'm really, really sorry." Hannah stopped a foot away from him. She studied his face, the tears, the pleading eyes. Then she leaned in close, her lips almost brushing his ear. Her whisper was clear as shattering glass in the silent warehouse. Katie hated chocolate and made her throat itchy. She was allergic. Leo's crying hitched, his eyes wide and wet, darted between Hannah and me, confusion breaking through the calculated performance. The lie, a tiny, insignificant detail in his monstrous narrative, had been exposed. It proved everything. It proved the chocolates were a tool, not a treat. It proved he hadn't known her at all. It proved it was never a game. The pathetic mask of the confused child slipped just for an instant. I saw it, a flash of cold irritation, the annoyance of a craftsman whose work is being nitpicked. Then the tears returned, thicker. And straightened up, she walked to a workbench and picked up a simple, clean towel and a bottle of water. My heart hammered against my ribs. This is it. This is the point of no return. I had promised her a path to revenge without jail. My plan was elaborate, involving stage accents and alibis. What was she doing? She uncapped the water, poured some onto the towel, and turned back to Leo. He flinched, squeezing his eyes shut. Gently, almost maternally, she began to wipe the grime and tears from his face. He froze, bewildered by the kindness. "HHH," Hannah soothed, "H-E-R, Chinese letter, methodical. There, that's better." Finished, stepped back and looked at him with that same eerie calm. "I want you to understand something, Leo. I want you to understand what you took from me. It was just a life. It was the sound of her singing off-key in the shower. It was the weight of her sleeping on my chest. It was the few fights over curfews, the boyfriends I'd have hated, the college acceptance letter, the wedding dress. You buried a universe in that styrofoam box." Leo stared at her, silent now. The performance seemed to have deserted him, faced with this quiet, devastating accounting. "The law says your universe is worth more than hers," Hannah continued, her voice getting a subtle metallic edge. "It says you get to grow up, may you get help, may you just get older, bigger, smarter, may you'll bury bigger things. The law has given you a gift, Leo, a second chance you never gave my daughter." She turned and looked at me, her eyes finally meeting mine. In them I saw not a plea for permission, but a silent communication. She was following the script, our script. The cold dread in my stomach tightened into a knot of grim resolve. "The law protects you," I said, pushing off the sacks and walking into the light. "But it only protects you from itself, from courtrooms and jails. It can't protect you from consequences. It can't protect you from a mother's grief." And I walked back to the altar, picked up the framed photo of Katie. She held it so Leo could see the frozen, toothy smile. "My daughter can't rest. She tells me so. Every night she's cold. She's scared. She's alone in the dark." Her voice broke for the first time, a hairline fracture in the ice. "You put her there, so you need to make it right." Leo's bravado was utterly gone. Raw, animal fear shone in his eyes.